It's 7:42 on a Tuesday night, and a woman you've known for 11 days is reading the menu like it owes her money. You watch her eyes move down the page. Steak, $34. Salmon, $28. Her eyebrows do something small and quiet, something she doesn't know you can see. Then her eyes drift up, past the menu, past your shoulder, through the window, to the parking lot, to your car. A brown Volkswagen, older than most marriages, sitting under the streetlight like it's apologizing for existing. She looks back at the menu, and she orders the $9 pasta. Not because she wants it, she wants the salmon. You watched her want the salmon. She orders the $9 pasta because she did the math on your car, your shirt, and your haircut, and decided to protect you. You have $6 million. She has no idea, and in the next 2 hours, you're going to have to decide whether to keep it that way. This is the story of that dinner, and the 10 years that led to this table. Let's back up. You're 34. You wear a plain black t-shirt. You own 3 of them. They are all the same shirt. This is what financial freedom actually looks like. Nobody tells you that. Your car cost $2,000 9 years ago, and mechanics keep calling it honest. Your apartment is small, your couch is old, and your bank account has a 6, followed by 6 zeros, followed by silence. $6,140,000. As of this morning, because you checked once. The way normal people check the weather. Not because it changes anything. It hasn't rained in that account for years. It just quietly compounds, like a garden you planted a decade ago and now barely visit. Nobody in your life knows the number. Not your mother, who still slips you $20 when you leave her house. You take it. It makes her happy. Somewhere in a drawer, you have $300 of guilt money from a woman whose son could buy her street. Not your coworkers. Yes, you still work 3 days a week at a job you keep like other people keep a gym membership, mostly for structure, partly for cover. And definitely not the women you've dated, especially not them. There's a reason for that. Her name was Vanessa. We'll get to Vanessa. Her name is Claire. You met her 11 days ago at a laundromat, which is already funny because you have a washing machine. You were there because your machine broke, and you, a man worth $6 million, spent 2 days researching whether it was worth $80 to fix. It was not. You fixed it yourself for 11. But those 2 days you spent at the spin cycle on 4th Street, watching your 3 identical shirts go around in circles. And on day 2, a woman in scrubs fell asleep sitting up, in a plastic chair, holding a detergent bottle like a teddy bear. A nurse, coming off a 14-hour shift. Her dryer buzzed and she didn't move. So you did something you never do? You woke a stranger? She looked at you like she'd fight you. Then she looked at her dryer. Then she said, "If you're going to rob me, all I have is fabric softener and $40 until Friday." $40 until Friday. She said it as a joke. But jokes like that are always census data. You used to make them. You said, "I only rob people on Thursdays." It was, statistically, the best sentence you'd produced in 4 years. She laughed. One of those laughs that's louder than the person expects. And then they get embarrassed. And that's the best part. You folded laundry next to each other. She told you about her shift. You told her you do some accounting, which is technically true, the way a shark does some swimming. She asked for your number. You gave her the real one. Even you were surprised. Tonight was your 3rd time seeing her. And you did something before this dinner that you haven't done in years. You stood in front of your closet, and you hesitated. Understand? Your closet takes 4 seconds. 3 black shirts, 1 funeral suit, 1 winter jacket. But tonight, you stood there like the shirts were going to vote. Because here's the thing, nobody tells you about money. Hiding it starts as strategy, becomes habit, and then one day, it's just you. You looked at the funeral suit. You thought, I could buy a new one, something Italian. I could show up looking like the number. And then you heard it. The tiny voice that has kept you invisible for 10 years. The voice that said, if the shirt changes, the story changes. Do you like the story? You put on the black t-shirt, same as always. If someone's going to like you, they're going to have to like you at resale value. You did, however, use the good deodorant. A man is not made of stone. You picked the restaurant the way you pick everything, deliberately, disguised as casually. Not the steakhouse downtown. That's where guys go to financially peacock. Not fast food. You're frugal, not feral. You picked Rosetti's, family place, checkered tablecloths, the kind of restaurant where the menu has exactly one dish over $30, and it's called the Big Anniversary. Here's what Claire doesn't know. You know the owner, Sal. 2 years ago, Rosetti's almost went under. Rent doubled. Sal's hands shook when he told the regulars. What Sal knows is that some investment guy negotiated with the landlord and quietly covered 8 months of the difference as a small business loan with an interest rate of 0 and a repayment schedule of whenever, Sal. What Sal doesn't know is that it was you. He thinks you're the broke accountant who always orders soup. Sal gives you extra bread because he feels bad for you. You are eating pity bread in a restaurant you saved. This is your life. You chose this. You'd choose it again. The waiter comes by, asks if you want sparkling or still. You say tap. He looks at you the way you'd look at a man who asked you to help bury a body. That look used to bother you. Now it's just Tuesday, and now we're back to the moment. 7:42. The menu. Watch it again. In slow motion this time, because it deserves it. Claire opens the menu. Her eyes go to the salmon. $28. She wants it. Human faces are terrible liars. There's a tiny lift, a little brightness. Salmon. Then the math starts. You know that math. You grew up inside it. It's the math of what does this cost him, of he woke up early to look this okay, of his car sounded like a cough when he parked. Her eyes flick to the window, to the Volkswagen. It sits there, brown and loyal, headlights slightly crossed like it's confused about being loved. Back to the menu, down the page, down the prices, like a person walking downstairs into a basement. I'll do the spaghetti pomodoro, she says. $9. I've been craving it all week. She has not been craving it all week. 11 days ago, she told you her comfort food was salmon. You remember, because you remember everything she said, which is its own separate problem. She just took a $28 want and shrunk it into a $9 order. To keep your imaginary $40 safe until your imaginary Friday. And here's what happens inside you in the 4 seconds after she says it. Nothing shows on your face. 10 years of practice. But somewhere behind your ribs, a door you locked around 2016 opens 1 inch. Because you have been rich for a long time. And you have learned what money reveals in people. The reaching, the angling, the sudden warmth of relatives in December. You have an entire filing cabinet of people being worse than they seemed. You have almost nothing filed under better. She ordered the $9 pasta. It's the largest gift anyone has given you in a decade. It cost her $19 of salmon she'll never mention. You order the soup. Obviously. Sal sends bread. Obviously. Now let me tell you why the door was locked. Let me tell you about Vanessa 6 years ago. You were worth about $2 million then. Younger money, dumber money, money that still wanted to be seen. And Vanessa was a woman who could see money through walls. If banks could hire her senses, they'd fire their software. You didn't tell her. She found out. A statement on your kitchen counter. You got careless, 1 page, 1 glance. You watched it happen from across the room. You watched her read the number. And here's the thing people get wrong. She didn't get greedy. It was so much worse. She got careful. Overnight, you stopped being a person and became a floor she wasn't allowed to crack. She laughed 1 second earlier at your jokes. She stopped arguing. And you didn't notice for a month. And when you noticed, you couldn't stop noticing. Disagreement is an act of equality. People don't argue with an ATM. The relationship didn't die of a fight. It died of customer service. At the end, when you finally said it wasn't working, she didn't ask why. She asked what her time had been worth. That sentence has a chair at every dinner you've been on since. You paid. Of course you paid. You tipped her like a valet for the years. And then you sold the nice apartment, bought the honest car, and disappeared into your own life like a man entering witness protection. Except the criminal you were hiding from was the number, and the number lives with you, and the number sleeps fine. And since you're wondering how a guy in a 9-year-old Volkswagen gets $6 million, here's the part every YouTube guru would stretch into a course. You get it in 90 seconds because the truth is short. The truth is always short. That's how you know it's true. At 24, you were worth -$4, not metaphorically. Your bank charged you $35 for the crime of having -4. That $35 fee made you so specifically, quietly furious that it rewired your brain. Rage is a terrible master and an excellent alarm clock. So, you did the boring things, all of them, in order. You spent less than you made. At first, a little, then a lot, then it became a sport. And you were the only one in the stadium. You invested the difference in the most boring funds legally available. Index funds, the financial equivalent of oatmeal. You did it every month, in good markets, in bad markets, in markets that made grown men on television cry. You didn't buy the car at 28. That skipped decade of car payments is worth about $400,000 now. You didn't upgrade the apartment at 30. You didn't fly business at 31. Business class lands at the same time as economy. Nobody believes you that it's the same plane. Compound interest did the rest. That's it. That's the whole cheat code. It's oatmeal, eaten daily for 10 years, while everyone around you ordered dessert on credit. The market doubled, then doubled again. Plus a company you joined early, plus one building bought ugly and sold pretty. 2 million became 4. 4 became 6. The last 2 million were easier than the first 50,000. Nobody believes that either. It's still true. The hardest part was never the math. The hardest part is that money is loud and you had to keep it quiet. Money wants to be seen. It leaks out of people through watches and vacations and the word actually. You plugged every leak. And the price of that, the real price, the one nobody puts in the course, is sitting across from you right now, eating $9 pasta she doesn't want, protecting a broke man who doesn't exist. Back at the table, the food arrives, and the dinner becomes the best one you've had in 6 years, because Claire talks to you the way people talk to people. She argues. She tells you your opinion about coffee is objectively criminal. Do you understand what that's worth? A woman who thinks you have nothing, telling you you're wrong for free? Vanessa would have agreed with you about coffee while hating coffee. Equality is a luxury good. It just doesn't know it's one. And then, over the pasta, she does something else people only do in front of the broke version of you. She's honest about money. She tells you she's got $11,000 in student loans left, down from 40. That she picked up extra shifts for 2 years to get there. That her car needs brakes and she's dating the brakes until payday. That her dream, she gets embarrassed here, waves her fork like she's erasing the sentence. Her dream is a little clinic someday. Her name on the door. She says it like people say Mars. Run the numbers with me, quietly, behind your face. Because you can't help it, you're you. 11,000 in loans. Breaks, maybe 400. The clinic she's embarrassed to say out loud. 200,000 would start it tomorrow. You could fix her entire list of problems before the tiramisu, the way other men fix a wobbly table. You could do it with the interest your money made during this dinner. Watch. Dinner started at 7:30. It's 9:05. Your portfolio, on an average day, drifts up about $800 in that time. Her pasta was 9. She saved you $19 while you passively earned her monthly loan payment between the bread and the check. You don't say any of this. You say the brakes thing sounds dangerous and she should get them done. She says, "Thanks, Dad." You almost propose. Settle down. Then comes the check. And with it, the minefield. The check at Rosetti's for 1 soup, 1 $9 pasta, and 2 teas, $22. Now, you tip well. Always have. It's the one leak in your disguise you refuse to plug. But tonight, the calibration matters. The broke accountant she's protecting doesn't drop 40%. He tips 15, maybe 18. If you tip like the number, the shirt stops making sense. Details are how disguises die. She reaches for her purse. Split it? And this is the moment the whole evening funnels into. Because you know from her $40 until Friday, from the $11,000, from the breaks she's dating. Exactly what $11 is to her. $11 is real to her in a way it hasn't been real to you since 2013. To her, it's a metric. To you, it's a rounding error's rounding error. You say, I got it. You can get the coffee next time. Watch what she does with that. She doesn't perform gratitude. No gasping. No, are you sure? She nods, like teammates nod. She has no idea what she just told you. She just filed dinner under us instead of under him. And she promoted herself to the salmon, but only for when it's her treat. She'll let herself want things on her own dime, just not on yours. You leave 20%. 18 felt like slander. 20 is the compromise between the man you are and the man she's protecting. Sal waves, sends you off with bread for the road. Pity bread, round 2. Someday, Sal, someday, the parking lot, the Volkswagen. Every woman you've dated has had a reaction to this car, and the reactions were the whole personality test. One asked if it was vintage, hopeful, like maybe it was a flex. One asked to be dropped off at the corner, actually. Vanessa, before she knew, once looked at it the way you'd look at a dead pigeon. Claire pats it, on the roof, twice, the way you'd pat a big old dog. It's got character, she says. Then, it sounds a little wheezy when you park. My brother's a mechanic. He'd look at it for free if you want. Stack the whole evening now. Stack it. She shrank her salmon into pasta for you. She split offered a $22 check. She's honest about her debt in front of a man she thinks has it worse. And now she's found you a free mechanic through her family because your $2,000 car wheezes and she's worried about your money. 6 years you've been running an experiment called Who's Still Nice to the Guy with Nothing? 6 years of data. Tonight, the experiment finally produced a result, and the result is patting your car like a dog and recruiting her brother into the conspiracy of keeping you okay. You say thanks. Your voice does something weird on the word. She pretends not to notice. Somewhere in your chest, the locked door opens the rest of the way, hinges screaming. You drive home the long way, and now the real dinner starts. The one in your head. Because now there's a question in the passenger seat, and it's wearing a seatbelt because it's staying a while. When do you tell her? Option 1, tomorrow. Just say it. Claire, I have $6 million. The car is a costume. The accountant thing is a hobby. Please still argue with me about coffee. And here's what you're actually afraid of. Not that she leaves, that she stays and changes, that the arguments soften, that she starts laughing early, that she becomes careful the way Vanessa got careful, and you spend years watching the person you liked get replaced by an employee of the relationship. Money doesn't always corrupt people. Sometimes it just mutes them. You've seen it. You'd rather be broke than muted at. Option 2. Never. Keep the costume forever. Marry her in the funeral suit. Let her spend 30 years budgeting breaks next to a man who could buy the dealership. And doesn't that sound noble until you say it slowly? Watch her clip coupons. Watch her postpone the clinic. Watch her protect you, decade after decade, from a poverty that doesn't exist. There's a word for that, and the word is not romance. The word is theft, not of money, of ease, of salmon. 100 small salmons, stolen one dinner at a time. Option 3. And this is the one your gut keeps circling. Not now, not never, slowly. The truth on a payment plan. You'd know something about those. You've just never been on this side of one. First, the breaks get a guy who owed you a favor. Then, the loan gets a weird tax refund. Then, when what you have with her is old enough and heavy enough that no number can tip it over, the whole thing. And you accept right now at this red light that when you finally tell her, she won't be amazed first. She'll be hurt first. She'll rerun every $9 decision she ever made to protect you. And she'll feel foolish. And it'll be your fault. And you'll deserve it. That's the invoice for the disguise. It was always going to arrive. Truth compounds, too. So does the interest on hiding it. You park. The Volkswagen wheezes. Even the car is telling you something. Here's what you do, for now. Tomorrow, her brakes get fixed. Her brother, the mechanic, will find them mysteriously, still under warranty. Warranties are real if you fund them. You'll never be mentioned. 60 years from now, no one will know which, you're realizing on this drive, has been your definition of a perfect transaction for 10 years. Invisible good, anonymous repair. You've done it for a restaurant, for a friend's rent, for a stranger's tow truck. It's the only way you've ever let the money touch the world, wearing gloves, but sitting in the driveway, engine ticking, pity bread riding shotgun. You finally say the true thing out loud, alone, to the steering wheel. The disguise was never for them. You told yourself you hid the money to find real people. Fine. Mission accomplished. She fell asleep in a laundromat holding fabric softener, and she is realer than the entire filing cabinet. The experiment worked, which means the experiment is over, and the disguise is still on. Because somewhere in 10 years of oatmeal and invisibility, hiding stopped being the method and became the man. You didn't build a fortune with a secret. You built a secret with a fortune attached. She ordered $9 pasta to protect you. There's only one honest way to repay a person who protects you. It's to become someone who doesn't need protecting from anything, including the truth, including you. Next dinner, she's getting the salmon. Both of you know it's her treat. It's her rules. She said so. Fine, let her buy it. Let her win the check. And someday, not next week, not with a speech, maybe in that clinic with her name on the door. A door she'll think a bank unlocked. She'll do some math on some quiet afternoon, the way she did math on your car through a restaurant window. Her eyebrows will do the small, quiet thing, and she'll look at you, and you'll look back, and you won't say the number. You'll say what took you 10 years and one plate of pasta to learn. The money was never the secret worth keeping. She was. The world overlooked you. You made sure of it. Just check who's sitting across the table